So that's Preston Castle. Date is April 27, 2018. Here in Ione, California. We have for the Veterans Parade down in downtown Ione. Pardon? Oh, it's a video camera. It takes 360 of the entire area. Yeah. Let's go on. Hi there. What time is the next tour?
Have you signed in for it?
Oh, checked in earlier at the gate. I think she said 1 something.
Yeah, it's at 1.
Oh, okay.
And then what you would do is you go through this door where it says tours.
Oh, awesome. Thanks.
Uh-huh.
So, what we have here is 120 years. Okay, it's been 120 years. So it's part of Amador County. Here we got a class of 1895. Goes over here. So you can see the top row is holding baseball bat, baseball uniform. I think this is the main uniform we have. Here we have some old video cameras, film projector, Polaroid, projection lamp, vintage photo published in 1923, and a couple of portraits back in the early years when this place was active during the time.
What is that?
Oh, video camera.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm. It takes video of like the entire area instead of just one area.
Cool. Never seen such a thing.
So we got vintage iron, pictures, hospital ward, the band, farmlands, shoe shop, bakery. Here's a little bit of history about the Cornerstone main building. Okay. Whoa. They got people came from St. Quentin. Baseball glove, baseball bats. We got some trophies. That's a big basketball. Wow. Typewriters. That's about the center. Here we got the theater room. So, like all the historical landmarks, they have a particular area where you sit down in this section and just watch the film for a few minutes and go on your tour. So the lady mentioned it starts at 1, so I'm just waiting for the tour to start. What is Preston Castle? An 1890, 230-acre parcel land where Preston now stands, purchased from Ione, Coal and Mineral Company, $30 per acre, 100 acres. Imprisoning juvenile offenders. So.
Yes. That's good stuff.
Yes. Welcome safe. Nice, they got a vintage safe. I haven't seen this design before. I've seen one in San Francisco, but not with the... Sandstone used in the building of Preston Castle. There's a little bit more history about it. By bricks. Vintage luggage compartment. Singer, sewing machine kit. This one is rifles. Handcuffs. More pictures. What else? Some books. Rainford was sent to school for 4 years for taking $1 from his aunt. That's pretty steep punishment. 4 years for $1. Well, back then $1 is a lot of money. Preston School, first school bus. That's could be the admin's office.
Take you anywhere it's not safe. There are a lot of stairs, so just take your time. If you need help, let me know. I'll help you as much as I can. Okay? So if there's no other questions, let's go. Oh, one thing. If you do have a question at any time, don't hesitate to ask me right away, because I don't want you to walk down the hallway and say, oh, I had a question back there, but I forgot about it. Okay? Ask me right away. All right? Yeah, with my shilling and rolling for my problem. For me? Yeah.
It's different to look at.
As you can see, there's a little devastation, a lot of damage. What you'll see is the walls. They took all the wainscoting off the walls. They stripped the wallpaper. The fire extinguishers. They took some of the nozzles. Some of their hoses are still here. They're intact. We have a few that are not. They have taken those. Everybody thinks these are metal wheels on these old fire extinguishers. They're wooden. These old style fire extinguishers are a very hot interior decorator item. We've had offers as high as $400 a piece for one of them. If I could sell anything, it would be the steam radiators that are laying around and the old bathtubs that we have, the old barefoot, bear claw tubs that weigh about 400 pounds a piece. The third floor has got about 60 of them on there now. But we're not allowed to sell any of that kind of stuff. So, but anyway, what the damage you see in the rooms is from water damage. When the state took the slate roof off the building and sold it, they forgot to put a roof back on it. The building sat vacant for 22 years without a roof. And back then is when it rained in California. Okay? All the damage you see is all caused from water, dry rot. We now have 2 roofs on it. Starting in 2001, this foundation took over. And we now own this building out there. We acquired the deed in February 2014. The state does not own this. We own it. We own the Capsule, the the visitor center, and the Colonial, and 14 surrounding acres. All those buildings that you see when you came up that driveway, once you hit the new blacktop, that is our property. We own all that. We just paved the driveway this week. They'll stripe it during the week. All the money we get goes right back into this building. And believe me, it's like a big hole in the ground. Okay? Yes, sir.
So is the goal to restore it back to its
The goal is to possibly get a developer to come in partnership. But to be honest with you, everything's got to be brought back up to code. And it's going to take, they estimate 15, I estimate 25 or more. You know, they talked about turning it into a bread and breakfast, but it's a historical building. It's been on the historical landmark since 1975. You know, so I'll never see it in my lifetime. I'm 68 now, it'll never, you know. We're just trying to keep it from falling down, basically, is what we're trying to do now. Any other questions?
Yeah, the wainscoting, where did it go? Was it vandalism?
Well, no, when they decided to close the building down, the state did, say you and your husband worked here. Come on up, take whatever you want, tell your neighbors, tell your friends. That's what happened. They say a lot of the materials went to other buildings in the state, you know, parks and that. I believe some of that, but the rest of it, it's in people's homes. Okay? There's 43 fireplaces throughout the castle. They all had hand-carved rosewood mantles. They don't have that many buildings around here in California with fireplaces in them, in state parks and that. Those went to people's houses. All the banisters were all solid oak handrails. They're gone. Everything's gone. Firehouse Restaurant. Any of you been there? That spiral staircase that you saw there?
Yeah.
That's how we got to the bell tower. To get to the bell tower now, we've got a ladder. You climb up a ladder, and then you grab a rope and pull yourself up. They won't give it back.
They won't give it back.
They won't give it back. We've had our attorney write numerous letters, and their answers are always, you said we could have it, and we're not giving it back. They had to take it apart to get it out of here. So, that's it.
How tall are the ceilings?
You know, that's a good question. I threatened to bring a tape. I couldn't tell you. They are tall. The castle's 148 feet tall. It's 44,000 square feet. Believe it or not, it has 256 windows in it. There's 77 rooms, and there's 43 fireplaces in it. I would say, I'm going to guess 20, 22 maybe.
Yeah, I think they're
You know? What do you think, Leanne?
I think they're about 20.
About 20? Like I said, I've threatened for 12 years to bring a tape measure with me. I live right here in town. I got one in my truck, but I don't know. But I'll tell you what, next tour I do, I will have that answer. I will have that answer. Any other questions? The reason why we don't want you to lean up against the walls, first of all, is because you saw in the video the nails, okay? Second of all, these little black dots you see everywhere, this building is full of bats. And when bats go to the bathroom, they don't care where they go. So I don't want you to go home today and you've got bat crap all over your clothes. Okay, so don't lean on them. You can see in this building, in this room here, there's a lot of droppings everywhere. Last year I had a lady wanted to donate 25 cats to us. And I said, man, why do I need a cat in here? She goes, well, you got a mouse problem and a rat problem. I said, well, no. I said, those are bats. She went right out that door you came in at. She left. She couldn't stand it, you know. You don't see any during the day, but trust me, if you're in here at night or outside, you will. If you look straight up in the ceiling, you'll see a red dot that I have. These are actually done in place. The plasterers that did all the lather work, the lath and plaster in here, actually did these by hand. They put enough plaster up there, they worked it with their fingers and whatever tools they had to create this particular design. This design is on the first floor, there's a different design on the second, and a different design on the third. Some people, when they try to steal stuff out of here, or I should take stuff, they did get some ladders and broke off a couple pieces. But you can now buy similar items like that at Home Depot. But these are done right in place. They did the design here. They did the designs in the archways in here. These guys were really clever for construction workers back then in the days. And remember, no power tools. All by hand. This is the original doctor's office here. This office was built in mind for only 150 boys. When the Capsule maxed out, they had 750 boys. They had to go to the judicial system and the court system in California and all over and say, no more. We cannot take any more. Because at 1940, they only had 193 employees. The guards worked 16 to 18 hours a day, 6 days, sometimes 7 days a week. They were very understaffed. They were very abusive here. Merle Haggard could contest to that. Trust me.
Were there a lot of escapes?
Yeah.
On a daily basis. Daily basis, yeah.
There was no fence at first, right?
No fence until 1945. Now, most of you, I don't know if you guys didn't get a chance to look at the museum inside both sides, did you? The display cases and that. Okay. Well, anyway, most of you saw the shoes that were in the display cases. If you take notice, there was a V cut out of the heel of the shoe. The reason why that was done is if they escaped, soft ground, farm ground, 750 acres, they could track the boys by that. If you say you owned a ranch out here, I have a friend of mine, Dutchkey Road is named after him, right off the highway here. He shot 4 times at a boy going up the backside of the hill. His name was Henry Dutchkey. And his mom yelled at him, my God, Henry, don't kill him. He goes, I want him to stop. Well, after the 4th shot, the kid raised his hands and came back. Henry tied him up, threw him in a buckboard, brought him back. You got a $10 reward. So back in the days, that was a lot of money. Okay? But if you turned a boy in that escaped, you got 30 days knocked off your sentence. But you could lose those 30 days in a matter of a week. You looked at the guard wrong, you mouthed off, took time away, added time to you. No boy ever left here before his time was up. None. Some came close, but they never did.
You're talking about escapees.
Escapees or any boy.
So
Or any boy. They were on a, what do I want to say? Point system, like a point system. You got so many points a day, and then they could take them away from you as fast as they wanted to. Every time you did escape and you were brought back here, I'll show you where it was sometimes where you would end up at on the patio. There's a big steel ring in the wall out there, and they would tie you up over there. And they would either use a whip on you, club on you, they would use a strap on you. Yeah, very, very, very rough, very rough. Any questions? Follow us. This is one typical bathroom on the floor. This is the original threshold. Why they never took the marble threshold, we don't know. That's solid marble. That's linoleum, actually. But this max, maybe. The rest were all women. Like I said, I worked for the school district for 34 years. And when I had to go to a elementary, high school, whatever, if I couldn't find a head custodian, I would go to the office. I wouldn't ask the principal. I'd go right to the secretary. Because everybody knows the secretary ran the school. Seriously. Well, basically the secretary, the administrative secretary ran this place. He just had his name on the title, and that was the big shot here. But the women mostly ran this. Okay, this is one bathroom for this whole floor. Until one day, I'll take you down the end, I'll tell you what happened that day. This room in here, I'm going to take you through. It's just a storeroom part here. This is the original post office. This post office was established in 1895. They had enough boys here where they could actually have their own zip code. All these letters and these stamps are the personal effects of one of our board members. Some of them are addressed to right here, boys right here, and that. This is all her collection that she had. But it wasn't a big post office. Their mail would be sorted right here. There was a shelf back here with all the pigeonholes in it and that. And I did a regular tour, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago. And a young lady on that tour asked me if she could come into the post office. Normally we have it blocked off. She came in here and I said, well, why do you want to go in? She goes, my dad was a ward here. He sat behind his window and sorted the mail, and he just passed away. Well, I had just recently lost my dad 2 weeks before that. So her and I came in here and we both had a good cry at each other. You know. But it was pretty interesting to find someone that knew somebody that worked in the post office in here. This is the original desk right here that was built right here for one of the, I believe it was assistant superintendent's desk. The boys built that, and it just came back to us. It was just donated back. Some stuff is coming back real, real slow. But if any of you know a window washer that's not too busy, that wants to volunteer sometime, I got about 256 windows here that you can wash. Okay? Because that's what this building has in it. We're going to go right through here. This was their original mail drop right here. Somebody took the design box cover that they had on it, but it would drop right there. They would sort it, put it here. The boys would be escorted in, pick up their bag of mail, and take it to various companies. Believe it or not, this building has no elevator. Pardon me?
That's gone too.
Oh yeah, that's gone. That's gone. Actually, if I open this door, you see yourself because you're on video. You were on video when you came through the gate in your car. We've got your license number. We've got everything. This was the elevator shaft on this floor here. You can come on out. This is one of 2 devices in the state of California that are still in existence. This was not a electric-driven elevator. This is not a pull chain or whatever you want to call it elevator. This was actually a water-driven elevator. It ran by water. There used to be a 100-gallon water tank above shaft here that connected to a 400-gallon water tank that connected to it was below the water tower. I mean the bell tower. There's 2 4-inch lines down in the basement that go up to an 18-inch line at the big tank that is fed all the way to the Henderson Reservoir at 130 pounds per square inch of water pressure. The superintendent would ring the bell. We don't know what the code was to go up or go down. I'll show you the control room downstairs in the basement. When we go to the basement, boys would open the valve up, it would release 100 gallons of water to this particular tank. Once it hit the level, the two hydraulics would kick in. It would take him up, stop him. Once he wanted to come back down, they would open up another valve, and here goes 100 gallons of water to waste.
How long would it take?
Pardon me?
How long would it take? I mean, would it be faster?
No, it drained fast. It drained pretty fast. Well, 100 gallons doesn't seem a lot, but when you've got a drought, and back in the 20s and the 30s here, they had a lot of droughts, okay? They had springs everywhere. They had drinking water, they had as much water as they really needed till they had a drought, okay? Some days the boys would come in and off the farms, working off the farm, they couldn't take a shower for up to 3 weeks at a time. So you're out there at 100-some degrees working for 4 hours. Every boy went to school every day for 4 hours, either in the morning or in the afternoon. And while he wasn't at school, that other 4 hours, he was spent at a trade, at a different trade. When he left here, when he was paroled out of here, he had 3 trades that he learned. He also could have got a high school diploma in 1945 and later. But before that, he still went to school no matter how old he was. So they had an education, and they had something that they could fall back on. Any questions?
Was there music there?
Oh, yes, ma'am. They were noted for county fairs. They had a wagon, and with a band on it. They would take them all over the state, local. But they were good. Actually, Lee J. Cobb, the movie actor, he was a concert violinist when he was here. He was so good. He was also a poet when he was here. He was sent here for vagrancy, walking around, 18 years old, they picked him up. But no, their music here was fabulous. Did you see the band uniforms and all that in there? Yeah, no, the kids were good. They were really good. They were great musicians. They were great with athletics, football, baseball. These kids were great, but they just couldn't stay out of trouble. But a lot of it was petty stuff. 10 cents, stole a dime, another kid stole a loaf of bread. It's a lot of vagrancy kids picked up for truancy. For vagrancy and that. Petty crimes. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to go this way. This is the staff dining room. You're welcome to go right in there. I'm going to meet you. I'm going to go through the other door. Feel free to walk around, look around. This is the staff dining room. If you actually worked here, you could come in here and eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay? The furniture that you do see in here is from the superintendent's house. If you come up the road up here, the big 2-story house.
Oh, that Tudor style and.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's where the superintendent. He didn't live there till after 1930. Before that, he was right here. He had to live right here. Okay. We did not get the superintendent's house in the deed. We were very disappointed.
Yeah.
So they went in and picked up some furniture. This is actually his formal dining room table. The hutches. That rocking chair is really lucky it's here. Because that was going home with me in my truck. One time. But I don't know exactly what's left over there. It may be still full of furniture. We don't know.
Is it being maintained?
No, ma'am. They don't do anything to it. The big storm 2 years ago knocked all the trees down, broke the fence up. They didn't do anything to it. State didn't do nothing. Not a thing. But anyway, in this room here, there were long tables. Actually, a picture there is on the cabinet right
Yeah,
there.
that's a good picture right there.
What would happen is below me was the kitchen where the lady cooked. Her name was Aunt Corbin. That is her picture on the left there. She would cook for staff. The boys would put it up down below on the dumbwaiter. Most of you know what sitting, they would serve you. Once you got done, you got up, you pushed your plate away or whatever, you walked away. The best thing about it is you didn't have to leave a tip like you do in a restaurant now. You just ate and left. I'm not supposed to tell you about Anna, but I'll tell you, remember her name, Anna Corbin. She was a housekeeper here. I will show you where she worked, etc. We were informed we cannot talk about anything, but she was murdered in the castle by one of the boys. So I just tell you, go online and you can read the whole story because I can't tell it to you anymore. We found out this year, started our 3 weeks ago or a month ago when we got our training. Her grandchildren have threatened to sue the foundation if we talk anymore about the murder of their grandmother. Well, I've been here for 12 years, and I've been telling that story about her for 12 years. But no problem. The children said it was okay, but now that I believe the children, the oldest one had passed, now they're the one that was left. One was killed in a war, and we believe it was the grandchildren now that are stopping us. So, but anyway, this furniture is once we close up in September, all this furniture will be covered. I mean December. Once we close in December, all the furniture is covered because the castle is completely closed. It gets too damp in here. All the artifacts and everything is moved out, put somewhere else where it's dry. Because trust me, it gets awful cold in here. Awful cold. We don't have any engineers here, do we? I hope. Not great. If you look up in the ceiling, you'll see how good the engineers actually were. Every wall in this building is tied together by at least 1 to 2 of these big, humongous turnbuckles. The reason why they wanted to close the castle in 1945, I believe, the state structural engineer came up here and condemned the building, saying it was unearthquake proof. Okay? Says it's going to fall down in an earthquake. All right, so they're going to tear it down. 8% strength. This building is not going to fall down. Not going to fall down.
This isn't really an earthquake area, is it?
Yeah, I guess years ago. Like I said, I've only been here 12 years now. But I guess years ago they did. Now this was a drop ceiling, as you can see. It wasn't like it is now. But they were really clever. I take my hat off. 1894. That's how sharp these guys were. Any other questions?
Oh, I got one.
Yeah.
What's the story behind the bit regarding the paint thing?
That
Yeah.
is original. That was original. That was original.
But is there a story behind this particular one? It's very artistic, but at the same time very dark. The theme. Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't know why. What anything about it. Actually, it just showed up one day. I don't know where they got it from. If they had it in the archives room that they have here, and they decided to put it up, I really don't know.
Got it.
Okay? I'll try to find out.
No worries.
All right. Stepping across the hallway here. This would have been the second floor going across, right here. Okay? Above that would have been your third floor, and above that, your fourth floor. All right? The reason why it's like this is there was so much debris on the third and the second floor, we had to have a contractor come in, and he had to cut the brick wall out. They reinforced here with steel beams. They backed in metal dumpsters that you see on construction sites, 40-yard dumpsters. They took 150 plus full of debris off these two floors. This whole floor and everything was coming down. They never charged the castle 1 penny for the work. They did it all for nothing for us. It was unbelievable. As you can still see, there's still stuff dropping from way up above yet. But you can see the turnbuckle here. The walls didn't fall, but they had to cut everything to get it out. Otherwise, we wouldn't be standing here right now. This is the superintendent. They called it his apartment, but this was actually his office, right here. This is his home office right here. Behind this walkway, this archway here, doorway right here, that was his bedroom. He lived here until 1931 when they built the big two-story Tudor building over there. Okay? His bedroom was back in through here and back in here. You're welcome to look in there. One of our docents has adopted this room, and she kind of designed it a little bit like it very possibly would use. That bathroom down below, one of them, superintendent, got tired of walking down there, so he had his own restroom put in here. Normally, this was a stairwell that led down to the basement where he met the boys as they were transferred in here. Okay? But he got tired of walking down there and always hearing a woman's voice saying, "I told you I'd be out of here in a minute." So he came back. But if you look at the door, check out the name that the painters put on the door at the women's request that were here. But you can go look at the restroom. I mean, at the bedroom. How close am I? Pretty good?
Very good. The best. He's the best. He's so lucky.
Had a lot of training. Different guys. Man, I had some old timers. But anyway, they had a main scene of him in this room in here, and they had this room all fixed up, beautiful. They had a big executive desk in there, bookcases on both sides, and they took it all away, you know. So we did find out that's where the bedroom was. Because before, nobody knew what that room was for until everybody started doing some research, and they found out that's where he slept. Okay, if you're never, no questions at all? None? We're going upstairs. The movie people put this this handrail up. As you can see, they took the handrail here, they tore down the handrail here, they took it all. They took it all. God knows where it's at now.
I saw it in the hallway upstairs, and I can't remember. It's just like one word. There's a little director's chart up there when you get your tickets. There's several movies on TV shows that we filmed here.
You're on the second floor now. The second floor basically was designed for apartments. Single apartments, except one room was a big apartment. I'll show you that when we get around the corner back here. But if you worked here, you had the opportunity to rent an apartment. It's funny because all the apartments on this side had their own facilities, bathrooms. All the apartments on this side had no bathroom, but had a fireplace for heat. Weird, you know? So if you lived on this side, you had to use the community bathroom. So you'd want to live on this side because you had your own bathroom, okay? Be careful when you come by here. I don't want nobody freaking out because what you saw downstairs looking up, you're going to look at it right here, okay? You're welcome to look in there. They took the weaving wheel, etc., the loom we had downstairs. Someone donated it back last year. They brought it up and put it up here in the apartment, one of the apartments up here. But they're basically just single-style apartments. This one here, one of the docents adopted this room. You're welcome to go in there and take a look. She's got that fixed up pretty nice.
Did they have their own kitchen facilities, or did they have?
No, they ate downstairs in the staff dining room. Or they went off. Normally, I would take you in there all the way, but when she fixed that room up, they block it off, they didn't want nobody to go in there. There was a story I would tell you about something that went way out there. But, you know what, I can still kind of tell you, oh, she's got the curtains closed. Well, anyway, when you were out front of the castle in the parking lot, and you looked towards the south, down where the flagpoles and the bricks are, you go down the grass area, and it goes all the way to the facility next door. Well, there was a docent here that came here at 14 years old. His picture's in the round display case in the one of the what the hell? I can't even think. In a museum downstairs. Okay. Anyway, his name is Richard Gonzalez. He looks like an Indian. He's got real long gray hair. Well, that was right before he passed away 2 years ago. His picture below him was his original picture at 14 years old when he was sent here. He was sent here for heroin addiction. Okay? He told me this story that on the other side over there, during the summer, all the boys, well, a lot of the boys wanted to work. That was a rose garden back there, Richard said. You went for quite a ways. But they kept the roses 7, 8, 9, 10 feet, as tall as they could keep them. Well, one day he said, a couple of the kids told him, hey man, we're going to go down there and work in the garden. Richard said, go for it. So they asked the guards down there, and they said, yeah, go ahead, go out with the boys. Well, one of the guards got wised up, saying, why do so many of them want to go out in that garden, for Christ's sakes? Well, he found out when he got about 3/4 of the way through there. He stopped dead in his tracks and went, oh my God. They had one of the biggest marijuana crops growing out there. That's why they kept the roses so high. Even in the winter, when they went dormant, they never cut them back. So I asked Richard, I said, Richard, come on. You told me you were sent here for heroin addiction. You were a drug addict. He goes, yeah. I said, why weren't you out there with that marijuana? He goes, that's nothing, man. He said, I worked in the shoe factory. I said, what in the hell are you doing in the shoe factory? My job was to put the sole and the heel on the shoe. I take the paintbrush, I dip it in the glue pot, I smear it on, I put the sole on. He said, I take the paintbrush, I bring it, go underneath my nose, and go back in the glue pot. I take it, and I put it on there, I put the heel, and it would go back underneath my nose again. I said, you did what? He goes, yeah. He said, I got high every day for 3 months. One day we had a new guard. I told him, I said, I have to go. He said, where are you going? Richard said, I got to go to the doctor. I'm a diabetic. I got to get my insulin shot. But he says, I'm a trustee. I can go. No, I got to escort you. He tried everything in his world to get rid of that guard. Okay? Couldn't do it. He brought him down there to the doctor's office and walked him in. He said, what can I do for him? He said, well, doc, he's a diabetic. He needs an insulin shot. He's a what? He says, I don't give him no insulin shots. The guard kind of looked at Richard. Richard said, oh, it must be a new doctor or something. I don't know, He said, where you work at, son? He kind of looked at him real close, and finally he got to put a light in his eyes. He said, where'd you work at? And the guard said, he works in a shoe factory. He goes, this boy been sniffing glue. Richard said that's how he got his high for 3 months. And he said, boy, after that, it was tough to break off of that dope addiction. But I laughed. I mean, the way he told it, he passed away a couple years ago. But he was a character, man. He was a character. Boy, he was a character. I like training under him. I love training under him. Be careful when you walk across that threshold right there. This was a laundry area where you kept your towels, your sheets, or whatever. Then if you needed to use the facilities, this is where you went to the restroom, or took a bath, or whatever, down through here. You left, like I said, on the left side, you had no facilities. The right side you did. This is a library office. Office area right through here. When I came here, you can all come on in. You got a little weak spot in the floor right there in the middle, so we don't run through But when I came here in 2006, there was a set of small steps right in front of this window right here. Then there was another set of steps on the outside of the window. Well, Richard was telling me, after he got thrown out of the shoe factory, he worked for the librarian for a while. Her desk was right here at this doorway, and what she would do, she would take her lunch and her breaks, she would get up on the steps, open the window, and go outside on the front porch. And I mean, look at the view she had. These Italian cypresses were probably only 4 or 5 feet tall at the time, but it was just fabulous view. But anyway, we had a problem that everything was falling down here from the dry rot. So we stripped it, this wall, and look what we discovered behind the wall. It's a set of cherry wood pocket doors. This is what it led to. It led into the library next door here, okay? But they're so heavy, they didn't take them down, they just put a false wall on them. We, to this day, don't know if there's more false walls around here yet. You know, we have no idea.
Is the library still on the other side?
Yeah, you'll see it here, but the library, to me, is probably the worst room for damage than even downstairs. It really is bad. But it was beautiful. When the librarian retired in 45, Leanne?
1940.
1940, she had 4,500 or 5,000 books and magazines for the boys. She had a lot. Yeah. Nice doors.
Yeah.
Nice doors. Up here at the Capsule. Grandma was a housekeeper, Grandpa was a guard. But they don't remember what room that they stayed in, what apartment they had, till they walked in that doorway right there. They walked in that doorway, they ran right to the bedroom. There was a double bed in there at one time with a dresser. They said it wasn't their original bed, but they sat on that bed, the two of them hugged each other and cried and cried. And they said, "Oh man, we remember playing on the floor here with our little toys." And it was pretty nice. This is the only piece of ceramic tile we have left on the hearth of the fireplaces. As you can see, they tried to chip it up and they broke it off in here in this one corner, so they just left it intact. But you can see how they ripped the mantles right off. And being the fireplaces are so shallow, as you can see, the original source of heat when the castle first opened was coal. They burned coal. Coal does not need a big opening or a big draw. So in 1889, they went from the fireplaces to the steam radiators right here. okay? This young man's looking out this window right here, probably trying to figure out what the heck this big contraption is, okay? This is actually, you get a better view when you go outside. This window is pretty dirty. This is a fire escape. This is the second original water-driven device in the state of California, still intact yet. This is a spiral metal slide fire escape connected to the 400-gallon water tank. If there was ever a fire, this was never used. They never used it. It goes all the way up to the top. What they would do if there was a fire here on the second floor, they would open this window, go in there, get in that slide, shut this door. There's a pull chain above it. They would pull that chain and would release 100 gallons of water from that tank up there. They would spin you out like this. The bad thing is, you're about 15 feet before you hit the ground. And you better hope to God the other doors down below are open. Otherwise, you're stuck in there. Well, it was never used. I wanted to come when I came here in 2006 after I got to know a little bit of stuff. I wanted to get up to the top, just get in it and just slide down. And they wouldn't even let me do that because there's no water. But anyway, what happened is a bunch of kids got in down below. They came up, broke this window out here, vandalized it. Well, as you can see here, they vandalized it, put stuff all over the walls, behind the clock. They brought this clock in to hide this wall here. So they welded the door shut. But you'll get a better view of it. It looks like an incinerator, is what it basically looks like, but it's not. It's a fire escape.
Was there a lot of fire here historically?
They destroyed the boys lit the elevator on fire. They were down in the basement in the control room, and they heard the superintendent getting in the elevator, so they lit a fire. They figured, we'll fix that sucker. He's coming down. We're gonna burn him up. He went up instead of down. But the third floor had a fire. I made a fire on it. Did a lot of damage, but the boys built it. They rebuilt it back up. Yeah. Any other questions? Actually, that's the elevator shaft. It's real small. It's a storeroom now that we have. But basically, that's how big it was. Just enough for some cargo or whatever. Yeah. We're going to go down. This is the annex. This was built in 1899, and actually the boys helped build this whole section back. The stairwell is gone now. It's broken off, concrete stairwell, but that stairwell goes all the way down the stairs down here. The patio. You could go full. Once you hit that patio, you were gone. Remember, no fences, all the way, all farmland. You could take off. Okay? What they did, they found out how the boys were actually getting out of here after bed check was one of the docents was doing a tour, and there was a guard that worked here at the time that informed them the boys would hide right up here in a crawl, like you have in your house now. Most of you have a crawl either in your closet or in your hallway. All right, they would get up there and hide, and he was the one that found the boys hiding up there. One day he was standing there waiting for the dude to get dressed or something, and he saw a bunch of bread particles like a sandwich laying on the floor. So he figured, that's weird. What's that doing up there? So he happened to look up. You know what? So he went and got a ladder, and lo and behold, there was a kid standing right up against his back wall. There was an escape that night, but evidently he never got out in time. So he just hid up there. Okay? So that's what they do. That's where the boys would stage it later. Now, Merle Haggard, you can copy this one down the end. Okay? We sell 2 books downstairs in the gift shop. One's like $100. But anyway, it's a hardback. There's a section in there about Merle Haggard. Merle Haggard came here in 1955. 1953. He came from Bakersfield, California, because he escaped the facility in Bakersfield 6 times. He had a 8-year sentence. Little haggard to hot wire your car, 7 minutes. But he was sentenced to back in Bakersfield for robbery. All right. Well, they sent him here. In his little biography that we have of him, he says it took him 6 months to escape. Well, according to our records, it only took him 6 weeks. All right. First time he got out of here with another kid. And he got into town. The alarm went off like it goes off every day. So the word got out. 2 boys escaped from Preston. Watch your view. Okay? Well, right here on Main Street somewhere, appendix attack. The doctor laid a bunch of sheets down on the floor, put a chloroform mask over his face, took his appendix out right here on the floor. All right? Reason why we know that is I used to have coffee with that guy for years. He finally passed away. Yeah, that gurney right there. Did not come up here from the state warehouse in Sacramento. Castle opened, it's open, and the annex was built in 1899. They did not set it up till 1913. Everything was done right here on the floor. I did a tour, I'm going to go way back 7, 8 years ago. There's 3 green chairs out in that hallway that were normally on the back wall right here, okay? I had a lady tell me when she was 5 years old, she sat in that first chair. Her dad cut his hand all the way from his wrist to his elbow on a disc on a farm. So his mom put a tourniquet around up here, wrapped him up with as much towels and sheets as she could get, threw him in a buckboard, and damn near killed him. He got him up here, okay? The doctor laid him on the floor, knocked him out, said he put 150 stitches in his arm. She was 5 years old at the time. The day I did the tour, I'm saying she's probably in her late 50s, early 60s. Now, Jackson's Hospital did not open until 1952. So if you needed emergency medical, you either got in your car, your buckboard, or jumped on your horse and went 45 minutes to Stockton, or 45 minutes to Sacramento. You could come here. So I asked her, I said, well, what did the doctor charge your dad, your mom? Do you remember? Oh, God, yeah. She said, they got in a big argument. She said, after my dad got up, he bandaged them all up and they started out. She goes, what do I owe you? And I believe she said it was $1.50. She said, my mom turned around and got in a big fight with him. I said, $1.50. I said, I had my knee done 4 years ago, it was $1,000. She goes, well, that's what back then it was in those days. But right here is where, you see the big gouges in the floor? Is where he went through with the scalpel a little bit too deep. And cut the floor.
You got another swamp for sale?
Yeah, I got some more land too. But anyway, this is where it was. So we asked why the beds. The beds always had boys in them. You didn't get that gurney until, 1913. So that's why they did it on the floor right there. Unbelievable. They said the light was so good from this window here and the lighting that they did here that he could do it right here. Yeah. They have a surgical lamp back there in that corner that they bought. The foundation bought from the guy that borrowed it from here. They paid him $500. He wouldn't give it back to him. That big round surgical lamp that came on. Big light that they would look down. This here, little kids, before we put the signs in that up, everybody be looking at, what is this? And I said, well, give me your finger, stick your finger in there. And as soon as I make a move to turn one of these band-aids, they'll drop it and run. People thought this was an electrical shock machine. This is actually the power unit. This is not the actual X-ray machine. This is the power unit. This is not the original one here. The one we have stands upright and the panels go this way. But this is a 1923 unit. We just found that out 2 years ago because the state of California sent 2 gentlemen up to look for an X-ray machine. Well, come to find out, the machine they wanted was next door in the facility next door. But they wanted to take this. They said, oh no, this is ours. Carl told them, our president said, no, this belongs to the Capsule now. We own the Capsule. You don't own it anymore. So by God, they looked in their book that they had the pictures, and they determined it was a 1923 model. It states X-ray. You can see right here. Yeah, I had 2 nurses 2 weeks ago that were telling me, oh yeah, I said, come on, you're not that old. You were telling me that you used it before. governor's suite. The governor of California was here once a month for parole hearings on the boys. That tub was in his suite on the 3rd floor. And you can see how big it is compared to the other tubs that the boys had. Why they brought it down here, I have no idea. Those were actually like Washington, yeah. When I started with the school district in 1971, I was a custodian with the Burbank High School in Sacramento. Those were in the auto shop. The boys working on the cars all day. But we had a foot pedal go all the way around the rail that they would control the water with that. This here is got a faucet with the top and then clean out. There's 5 toilets in this room in here next door. And what happened, there were, I'm going to say 7, 8 years ago, right before we close up in December, we have our Christmas bazaar, and it's our last tour of the year. Well, I was doing the tour, and I had 5 young ladies, all dressed up in their denim beanies, and, you know. One of them asked me, she's down, I need to use the restroom. I said, great, go right up that door, right up. She goes, no, right there. I said, you know, I'm about dating for every day. You can't go in there. She goes, I don't want to pee for Christ's sake. Can you clean those off, wipe those off? I said, what do you want me to do? We want you to take a picture of all 5 of us sitting out in the toilet right there. So I did. I took their camera, I stood right here. They sat back there, they all turned away, I took a couple pictures of them. A week later, I got it on a Christmas card. Honest to God. I thought it was so cute. It was unreal. But she had me going for a minute. But anyway, once they got done cleaning up and everything, and after dinner, they could come back down here. They could play the piano, listen to the radio, play records, play cards, write letters, whatever they wanted to do until 5 minutes to 9. Then they went back upstairs. And but this is their own room. They were fortunate to have this. You know, the other boys never had this. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to go to the patio. This is where we party at out here. We have all our big functions out here. We dance, we drink, we fall down, we do everything out here. This is also where the cruel and unusual punishment happened. Right here. You were that seriously, when you escaped, I would imagine Merle was tied up to that 1 or 2 times, possibility. They would tie you to that, bend you over, that's why it is so down to the ground, and they would either beat you with a whip, a lash, a belt, strap, whatever. That's how cruel the punishment here was at times. Wasn't very fun. Wasn't very fun if you were a kid here. Oh, I don't know. You just said the way it was designed in that. I know underneath here is all steam lines. And I know when the guys were working on the roof, they brought a big piece of machinery and they collapsed in. Now, rumor has it that there's a tunnel underneath this patio that goes clear over this thing called Tamaracks over there. One of the guys that was a volunteer here a couple years ago, his son worked for a company that had robotic cameras on like a robot, and they were going to try to find the opening and go through. But rumor had it that tunnel, you could walk that tunnel all the way. Now we can't confirm it yet, but I would really like to find out for sure. Down here's the boiler room. You can't even get near that in there. It's full of asbestos and bar you'll find me at most of the time when we have a big function out here. That's the hard liquor bar over there. Okay? I spent a lot of time over there. This is actually called the trumpet vine. It is a volunteer. It gets a beautiful orange flower shaped as a trumpet on it, and when it goes to seed, it gets a bean pod seed about like that on it. It's really coming back now. We thought we might have lost it this year, but it's gone because we had new gutters put all the way around the whole capsule back there. It cost us $100,000. But we had to. The gutters that we had up there were completely gone. They were history. Okay? This was a time capsule. Right here. They opened this up in 1994, resealed it, and they'll open it up in 2094. You two might be here by then, but I don't think the rest of us will be. Don't ask me what's in it, because I couldn't tell you. I do know when they opened it up in 1994, as soon as they got the copper box out, they whisked it away in a van, took it right to Sacramento. They wouldn't even let us see the contents until they got into Sacramento, and then they called. But we did bring the box. We had the box inside.